Earlier this week that I was going to marry Riz Emma.
Who's that?
Is this another actor?
Yes. He's also a rapper. He's British and he's Muslim.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, you know.
Everybody's in it.
You're probably, he was in that Star
You got
Wars
the thing.
movie, Rogue One. It's pretty good.
Which one?
Rogue One.
Yeah, but which one is it?
I don't know,
What
pilot.
character?
The only black dude in the movie.
No, he was Pakistani.
Hmm.
He also was in that TV show.
Oh, you're
like a
you're
HBO
thinking
show
in the Star Wars.
The second to the last one that just came out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking.
I just watched that with my
We
brother.
went to see Jumanji. It was off the chain.
Was it? My sister
Yeah.
wants to
Yes.
see it. That's him.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I decided
Was it
I
good? I wanted to watch
It was
that,
good.
and my brother picked Star Wars, which was really
Yeah.
good. I don't follow that. I don't understand
Yeah.
everything, but it was awesome.
Yeah, you definitely gotta be a Star Wars person. I remember from when we were little. My brother had all those, the walking thing, all that crazy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Everybody talk so I can see who's where because I don't
All at the
remember.
same time? Let's
No,
just keep talking.
not all
You
at the
sound
same
very
time.
loud.
I know. I'm trying to get everybody else up where I am. So you go first.
Okay. I think I'm pretty loud. I feel like I'm
Yes.
pretty loud.
You are.
Yeah, you are.
I'm also
But,
really close.
but keep talking because I still don't know what channel you're on.
I think I'm on channel 27. Oh, there. That was me.
That would be
There was me.
that. There was you. You are channel 2. Deborah, talk for a little bit.
Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Okay,
Hey.
Deborah.
Hello, hello.
Hi, cheesy eyes too.
So that means Alex is
Jeez,
3.
Can you hear me from here?
I don't know. Keep
Good.
talking.
Can I just sit like this and you guys will be able to hear me
We can hear you.
instead of doing this?
I can hear you.
I
Just
think
make sure that you're pointed, I guess, towards the microphone if you stay that far away.
Yeah. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
it hurts when I'm like.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know you can hear me because my voice is loud.
no, that's not what I need. Hello. All right.
Oh yeah, I was supposed to find music, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I got distracted from my future husband.
Hey, hey.
What do we want to listen to? It's a good humble music song.
I'm pumped because we're going into 2018.
It's crazy.
I know it.
Literally, it's gonna be 2020 so soon.
Yep. Heck yeah. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound like Havana.
It's a tango. I think it's Argentine. It has to be. Spanish, of course.
It's alright. The beat is good. Mm, 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 mm.
It sounds good.
It does.
Like in the background. Oh. Yeah. Make a remix of it.
You know what? I think we need that thing back on here
For the
Yeah.
for
sound.
the blanket.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
when I put my cup down, it sounds
Yeah.
super loud.
Yeah.
Knock everything off completely.
Yeah,
Right.
that'll take a while, so let's just try to be very careful with the table this episode, and by next episode I'll fix it.
Oh, today?
Maybe put some padding on.
Ooh, maybe I should put some of the, well, no, put
It's
the
not going to be.
Yeah.
It'll be really funny though.
Yeah, when we're in the middle of a good conversation and the cup falls over and ruins all of the equipment.
Oh, no. Can't have that.
So funny.
I think it's too loud too. Still. Is it just me?
I don't know, what do you think is too loud?
Like the voices are really loud.
Well, here's what we can do.
Never mind.
Blah, 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 blah,
Okay.
blah. Okay.
Better.
It
Yes.
seems like they got louder.
All right.
I don't know.
I'm deaf.
Is that for me? Is that just for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello? Yes. And this one?
Yes.
Is that okay. Yes, much
Yeah.
Much better.
So if anybody wants to adjust your
Oh my God,
headphone
yes.
volume, I guess find the channel here and turn it down.
better. Are you ready for me to turn this off?
Sure.
What are we
Yeah,
doing?
let's get started.
Alright.
Yes.
Michael, count me down whenever you're ready.
11, 10, 9,
You sure?
8, 7,
NASA.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome back to the Queencast.
Hi everybody. Hello.
Hello.
Whoa, that hurt. Oh. Oh, I did hear you. Whew. That
Turn
hurts
down
my
for what?
ears.
Turn down for what?
How's everyone doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
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 Is everybody good?
Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
Good,
I'm
good.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess if everyone's good, let's just call it a day.
I'm a solid 7.5 on a 10-point scale.
All right.
That's like amazing for you, right?
No, amazing for me is like 9.5.
Okay.
Anything below 9 is like not very good.
Really?
It's only the last 2 points that matter on a 10-point scale. Everybody.
I'll take a 6 every now and then.
Shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I just
Like, just Put me a little above 50% and I'm good.
Every day I wake up, I'm a 10. I'm
6.
above grade.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Deborah,
For real.
I don't know why you do,
Let's get it.
It's an addiction to carbs and
But-
sugar.
Yes,
but
honey.
it's
You see
amazing.
my son?
Your positivism. Is that even a word?
No, it's not.
That's okay. I got it.
Your positivity
Yeah.
is
I'm either here or there.
What is
I
that?
understand
The
that.
good side and the dark side.
I thought
That's
that.
kind of racist, Deborah.
That's okay. I can
Just
say
your
that.
hand in the back of
I
your
think
head.
she's
But wait a minute.
referring to Star Wars.
I can say that, but can't nobody else. So we can clear that up. See?
It's true.
Boom.
It's true.
I just thought it was sign language for positivity.
It's like I thought you were doing the Beyonce sort of.
Oh, she
single
was
phase.
doing. I thought she was doing that face where like one side of the face is sad and one side of the face is happy.
Oh, like the drama mask
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously none of us knew what Deborah was doing.
That's okay.
No, but we can ask
Half the
questions.
time I don't.
So good, so good.
Well, everybody, welcome back to the Queencast. We're here on the last day of 2017,
Yes.
December 31st, 2017, which is crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
And this is going to be our last episode of
This year.
2017, and I guess of season 1, or if this is a bonus episode, we're not really sure because we haven't decided that yet.
Right.
But we do know that when we begin again in 2018, that will be the first episode of season 2.
Season 2. Can you believe it?
I can't believe this is what, episode 14, and that means that we have been going.
Wow.
Is it 13 or 14?
13.
I think it's 13.
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
so we're at episode 13, and we've been going for 14 weeks because there was, I think, 1 week that we didn't record.
Yeah.
Which is insane. 14
is.
weeks of
I
doing
know.
this except for 1 week, but I'm doing this on a regular basis every Sunday.
For the
Not
most
all of
part,
us, except
for me.
Michael. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we all had some breaks in there.
Yeah.
Me most of all. And
No,
we've made it.
I did too.
Such is
I've
life.
enjoyed it. So
Me too.
it is coming together. Chit chatting.
Yeah.
And I think we are finding our voice
Yeah.
and
And
our
our rhythm.
tone.
True.
You know, like and that we said that at the beginning that because I had no experience with
None of us
speaking
do.
into a
Right.
microphone, so I really didn't know what to expect of myself. But once you are in it,
Yeah.
then you can, when you hear yourself, or that's in my case, every time I listen to the one episode, I just know myself more every time, and you know I know what tone I want to give and how well I want to speak. You know, it's really good to have that because you practice and you better yourself. And that for me has been the communication skills and
True.
and hearing yourself in a recorded sort of device, or it's different. You hear yourself in many different ways that you usually don't. So I notice that I get the things that I wanted better, for instance, and also I notice when I'm really passionate about something, I know the things that like get me going, that trigger me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm actually knowing myself. It's like having myself in the mirror, like in front of me.
Well,
Reading my own body language, it's awesome. The experience of talking into a microphone and then hearing yourself with other voices is really cool. I would recommend anyone and everybody to do it once.
Microphones are the mirrors to the ears. That sounded much better in my head before I said it out loud. Sorry.
I imagine that's true. There is something special about listening to yourself and then wanting to improve as well every week. Every time I listen to myself, I'm like, okay, I need to stop saying I need to stop saying this and that, and wanting to be better and to then notice the things as you're saying them and to try to take out the and the likes and the ums. I think it's awesome.
I know. A couple of episodes I caught myself listening after we recorded it. I'll say wow a lot. And and I was like, Deborah, you need to stop doing that. But in the moment, I'm like, okay, wow.
Well, because this was a, space for us to be ourselves, right? So we got it out there, and I'm sure if we go back and hear every episode, each one of us were there.
Right.
Deborah, Soha, Alex, Carly, and Michael. Like, we were there. We were who we were. And I think that doesn't have to change, but improving is part of the whole job. I think our listeners deserve that we improve.
We improve and we just evolve as people. We are going to be hopefully able to think on our feet more. We're going to be able to be more succinct and get to the point more quickly and not have like 4-hour rambling episodes.
Right.
Are enjoyable for us while we're doing that, but maybe not for everybody who's listening. We're gonna work on that. But I think if you're not getting better, then what are you doing? That's true. At least that's how I think, which is maybe not how everybody thinks.
I think our listeners could get better by listening to the podcast at 1.5 speed instead of 1 speed. So if it's a 2-hour-long episode, it only takes them 70 minutes to get through it.
Because everybody knows how to do that.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're
If you get to the point where you know how to download a podcast, you're like moments away from figuring out how to listen to it on a faster speed, I think. Because it's built into every podcast app, being able to listen to a podcast at a faster speed.
That means our voices are like, what?
It means it's
really, really fast.
Yeah, but at 1.5 speed, you're kind of like still talking slow enough that people can understand you. At double speed, like it's hard to listen to a podcast at double speed.
I mean, for 2 hours, yes.
Yeah.
I tried it myself, and I had to break it down into like 4 parts because I was working and doing stuff. I couldn't stick with one at once.
Yeah.
So I can see how that would be, I guess, a problem because I could have not come back to it.
Right.
But because I was there, I had to finish it.
Yeah, because it's yours.
Excuse me.
I mean, I think it's our responsibility to hear ourselves.
To listen to ourselves to see where we messed up and didn't mess up.
Yeah.
Not mess up or didn't mess up. One thing that I noticed, because initially I wasn't listening, I was already there. I know what happened.
Yeah.
But when you go back and listen, you're like, oh, I forgot we talked about that.
Right,
or I forgot
right.
we said that. Or someone else said that.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
When editing each episode, there's always a moment in the episode where I'm just like, I guess I've had an out-of-body experience for like 10 minutes because I'll get to a point I'll be like, I don't remember any part of this discussion. And we just had this conversation like 12 hours ago. So like that happens every episode.
Crazy. Well, I'm looking forward to 2018 for a variety of reasons, but specific to
That was me grunting at I'm just glad 2017 is going to be over. So that was what that grunt meant.
Why?
Because it's been a terrible year.
Really?
14 weeks you've had to spend with us.
No, this
Yeah, I mean, Michael, come on. This is the year where you met us all, and this is your worst year. You could have.
Well, technically, this is the year I met Deborah. I already knew you, and so on before this year.
I mean, but here, like, met us here in this
in this
This
space.
In this little room
This
True.
cold little room.
with these
True.
microphones, it should be the best
No,
year of your life.
this 14 weeks has been the best medicine to combat the illness that was 2017. Like,
Well, that's good to know.
yeah,
I'm glad we were the cure.
go do it. Just do it.
I'm sorry, I was holding it so bad.
I think everybody
I'm so
listening
sorry.
probably has something going on, so
Mhm.
I know I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I woke up like I had been screaming the previous night, and I don't remember doing anything crazy. So, excuse me if every now and then I just clear my throat.
I thought you were gonna say, excuse me if every now and then I just scream at the top.
Please don't, because my headphones are not.
That's why she
Yeah,
turned her
I know, it
headphones
hurts.
down.
Like, it was really painful. I will not scream.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, like I was saying before, Michael grunted, I'm looking forward to 2018, specific to this podcast. I'm looking forward to recording season 2, and we are definitely going to be, I guess, having some changes, nothing too drastic, but we want to get into the rhythm of how we work together as a group, and we want to make sure that we're talking about important topics, but still having fun and being relevant. And you may notice that Carly is not with us today, and she is not going to be with us in season 2. We had some creative differences, but she's also going to be working on her new album
Yes.
in Austin
Mm-hmm.
soon, I think. In January, she's going to be flying down there. So we're really excited for her and wish her the best.
And can't wait to hear it.
Yeah,
the
I'm
album.
looking forward to hearing the album.
Yeah, she has been
Very
working on
about
this for a while. It's,
Yeah.
I think it's her dream.
It is.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is her lifetime dream. So, Carly, I'm really proud of you, and I know you're gonna
Yes.
kick ass in,
Yes, she
in
is.
Austin, and yeah, bring back whatever you come up with, because it's gonna be awesome. I wish I could go with you.
And we will
And
come to see you in
party.
concert.
Yeah,
Yes, we'll
and
be out
I,
there to support her.
I did tell her that when she gets it done and has something to present, that I would plug it really heavily on the show so that our whole audience has access to it and knows that it exists.
Yeah, so best
Maybe
of
even
wishes.
play some songs from it on the show. Who knows?
Yeah,
We'll see
best
how
of
that goes.
wishes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm trying to think of what other format changes we may have. I think Michael's probably going to be talking more as host.
Yeah.
Or I guess talking less as host. Letting me talk more.
Yeah, that was one of the things we were discussing about how we wanted to go forward in this next season of shows. I had mentioned that to Soha that one of the reasons I asked her to be on the show was because I like hearing her opinions and her thoughts and her sense of humor on when talking about just about anything. And what I know from my own experience hosting podcasts is you don't really get to fully do that as the host because you're moderating a conversation and you're trying to make room for everybody else to talk. And I thought, I would really like to hear her come through more on the podcast than she's been able to do so far, like managing as the host. So I said, why don't I try to host? Because also I've gotten a lot of feedback saying that I should talk more. And originally, when I had the idea for the show, I wasn't planning on talking at all. I was not planning, maybe saying something if I had to, but I was planning on staying silent and letting this be your
But
show.
you love talking, Michael.
I really,
You cannot stay away from it.
Can't not talk.
Look at how he grabs the microphone. You see that?
Mhm.
it's more that
He's not grabbing it.
it's more that I just, I almost made
Caressing it.
a really inappropriate joke just
Hey,
then.
no, that's my job. You don't take my job. That's my job.
Yes.
Say it though. Say it. Let's see what you got.
Something about microphones, penises, whatever.
The D.
Oh my God.
Stroking the Sunny D,
Hey.
pushing the Matt Lauer button. You know how it goes. No, but I wasn't planning on talking at all. And but I've gotten a lot of feedback saying, "Oh, you should talk more. You always bring an interesting perspective to the show." Blah 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 blah. So, in order to find a balance between getting Soha to talk more and me going from talking not at all to talking some, I thought maybe I should just host the show, and the three of you can be like my panel of experts, and I'll present you with topics, and you can tell me if you want to talk about them or not, or tell me how you feel about certain things or not, and like I'll just get your opinion as the experts on the Queencast about how you feel about certain things, and that'll give Soha a chance to talk more, and me a chance to talk more, but also not talk so much. I don't know. I swear, like this will make more sense going forward when you hear the idea happening than it does me describing it. So.
We get it.
Yeah.
You get it because
Yeah.
you were part of the conversation.
No,
I feel
and
like
I think our listeners will understand. I mean, it's clear that us three now need to have this sort of dance around a topic and have a mediator. And you cannot possibly do both. And
No,
let me
not-
tell
not
you,
really.
I have been enjoying you running it because of your personality and your like.
I have a picture. Oh Lord, my bad.
Oh, you're fine. We haven't started 2018.
Yeah,
We still have room for errors.
we still have room for error.
But anyway, I will say that I do enjoy how you stop us and continue with that.
Thank you.
But I do also want,
Yeah.
but and we had that talk. I also want that. I think is the most appropriate way to do it too.
Yeah.
To have us together doing that, and you're from the outside.
Yeah, and it may not work, but we'll see. We won't know unless we
I'm sure
try.
you will.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work, we can always change the format again if we need to. So that's
just all yell into the microphone at once. Which
Yes.
I think would be an interesting way of doing something new,
yeah.
fresh. Everyone just start talking.
Start talking now.
Well, as we contemplate future changes, let's look back a little. I want to hear how your 2017 went, what you learned, what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy. Give me a little recap. Who wants to start?
Deborah.
Oh, okay. I'll start. Let me see. 2017 has been, it was a learning process. I lost some friends, gained some friends, lost a lot of weight, gained some weight. It was interesting. The friendship that I did, I wouldn't say I lost a friend. I just thought we were better friends than we were. So, but she showed me different. So, I'm the type of person, once you show me who you are, I deal with you accordingly.
Right.
So, I wouldn't say I cut her off, but she's cut off, you know. So, when she used to call, I would run and get my phone there when she calls. If I don't feel like answering, I don't, you know. So,
Boundaries.
yeah.
Very healthy.
Oh, yeah, because you can only do me one time.
Yeah.
And I decided to start a business this year. So, 2018.
Another one?
Yeah, another one. I have a meal prep business, but I'm going back to school to be a master health and wellness coach.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I start
Oh my
January
God.
the 8th.
It's Elvis's birthday. Sorry.
Hey, blue suede shoes.
Yeah.
And, I'm starting a logo. I do have a business. I got my LLC for my business. I have
Cool.
a design that I need to get trademarked. So I'll be working on that in 2018. 2017 was okay. You know, I
That
lost.
is why you were looking for a graphic designer
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you come up with
Yeah.
something
Oh,
that
yeah.
you love?
So good.
Oh, yeah.
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 So good.
So I can't put anything out until I
Right,
get it
right,
trademarked.
yeah.
But I do own the business name, going beyond expectations. And everything is spelled right.
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Thanks to Soha over here. And I started a YouTube channel in 2017.
Very proactive. It
Yeah.
seems like.
Yeah, I'm leaving 2017 with my health. Everybody's healthy in my family. My granddaughter's smarter than ever. My daughter's doing right, so I need to get on her lately. Because she know I get in that ass. So,
Oh, yeah.
but other than that, it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all is well. All
Well,
is
good
well.
luck in your new business. Can't wait to hear more about it
Oh, yeah.
and maybe be a customer one day. 'Cause God, I struggle with physical wellness.
Well, the
Yeah.
lady that I spoke with, she was like, Deborah, let your body be your advertisement and your paycheck. So
Abs-
we're going to get on that.
Remember that talk about the
Soliciting.
dancing?
Yeah. So, but yeah, 2018 is looking promising.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
excited.
Thank you. And thanks to Soha for helping me out. And she's also going to help me start my website.
Yes, I brought my computer. It's just in the car.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I just need a little help.
Oh yeah.
You left a computer in the car in this neighborhood?
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the weather.
It's probably fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold outside. I
I'm a
couldn't think
social
of
worker. We don't have many resources, so I have to
Let's
take
see.
care of that computer. Like
my computer.
no, my computer, which is not mine. It's my work's computer. But I remember from the first day, they were like, "Do not, leave your computer in the car because of the weather." And it got embedded in my brain because it's the only computer that I have right now.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm worried when people are leaving devices in their cars because right now it's like
0 miles
fridge
per day.
temperature,
Mhm.
It's like 9 degrees.
something like that. It's just too cold. I'm sure you can just leave things out there and it will stay.
I was only concerned because my car has been broken into, I think, 7 times since I've lived in this
Holy
house.
crap! In the middle of the day.
I don't know when it gets broken into. Honestly, if I knew that, I would probably be able to protect myself against it more successfully. But yeah, I don't know. This is a neighborhood where people will walk up and down the street and just sort of nonchalantly check the handles to make sure the car doors are locked or unlocked. And if they're unlocked, everything's going to be gone from your car. So
Can we take a quick break?
maybe.
Just joking.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
Oh, making sure that
Perfect.
the car.
But yeah, that's 2017 and wrapped up for me. That's it.
So you're ready for tomorrow
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to hit that gym running.
on a Monday.
Yes.
It doesn't get any better than that because we usually say, I say I'm starting Monday. I'm starting Monday. Whatever I don't ever start, and like this year is actually Monday. It's the first day.
Yeah, first
And I
day
didn't
of
do
20.
I feel
New
feels
Year's
good.
Eve.
Like
No, I didn't do any New Year's resolutions because they always fail. So, no
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions. for
Yeah.
me. That's it.
Good. Alex, what about you? How was 2017? Any lessons learned? Any
Oh, God,
good,
yes.
bad
Oof.
experiences?
I've messed up this year. No, well, first of all, I am beyond grateful
Mm-hmm.
just to be alive and to be 28 and to have what I have because I really never thought I would. But it was the hardest year of my grad school program for sure. I did a practicum and I was working and I was going to school because you just have to deal with what you have, and that's what I did. So I'm really tired about that. I'm ready to graduate. I passed classes that I didn't think I would, and because every year I believe in myself more than the previous, and I was really nervous that I wasn't going to make it in those certain classes that research. But I graduated in May, so I'm really, really, really glad about that. It has been good. It's just it has been the hardest for me in my career. Having a house with a person, sharing everything, getting to know that person even more. I mean, Emily and I have been together for over 3 years, and 2 living together, having a house and 4 animals. It is like a marriage
Of course it is.
because it's just that person in a way that,
Nobody else.
and then you decide, what are we doing? Is this for us or not? And it is very scary because sometimes, we are so different that our careers are so different that things get in the way. But it's good. We've passed everything, all the indifferences here and there, and like every couple, have problems and all that. So it has been the most difficult year because I've had to deal with many real adult stuff, like having an actual healthy relationship,
Mm-hmm.
sharing so many things, working, going to school, pursuing my dreams, painting when I can, and doing the podcast. I mean, shit. I started doing this in the hardest year of my career, and it has not been but a break from my life. So it has been good. It really has. I've had some, my mom has had some health issues, and it was very scary. But every day I see hope, and I cannot help but just be thankful. So I'm ready for tomorrow. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
See
tomorrow.
what the future holds.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not making any goals because it never works for me.
Yeah.
I just tell myself, be a better person. Just be it, whatever that is. You'll discover what it would be within, time. You know what you have to do. Just know that you want to be a better person, and you figure it out. So that's my thing.
Yes, definitely.
What about you, Michael? How was 2017? Besides crappy, as you also already mentioned.
Well, 2017 was an interesting year for me because I think this year I've had a lot of growing up to do in 2017, and a lot of it has been painful. Growing pains, that's a thing for a reason, but because it's not always elegant and it's not always it doesn't always feel good. But my personal life has been kind of, I kind of want to echo what Deborah and Alex both said. I've made some friends this year. I've lost some friends this year. Some of that was good. Some of that was not so good. I've remade some friends this year and buried some hatchets. No, I shouldn't say that. That feels
Buried
racist.
some friends.
I was gonna say,
I
good
won't
Lord.
say that on the podcast. This is public.
No, I only bury friends with words anyway.
I feel you.
I don't know.
That was so poetic. I
Yeah,
loved
wasn't
it.
it?
I felt
It kind of
I
was.
felt you.
Words with friends, like the game.
Yes, like the game, only with verbal shovels.
There you go. I
There I
feel
go.
you.
Thank you. Somebody gets me.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of creative things this year, and that's all been going really well. Well, some of it has been going really well, some of it's not. But I'm a creative person, and I'm always kind of doing creative things. So whatever. But we talked about this on the last episode of the show when it was just the two of us, when it was Soa and me and Deborah and Alex were not here. But this year, the reason I like when you asked me how 2017 was, and I'm like, ugh, it's because part of my growing up this year has been me paying more attention to the world around me, not just like the personal space bubble, because I'm a very selfish and self-centered person, and my whole life I've kind of walked around with this attitude of, if it's not happening within the immediate 5 feet in front of me, I don't give a shit. So like I've been really oblivious in my life to world events and how my fellow man and woman, how the world affects them. And this year, because of so many things that have happened politically and socially, and it's just been a year for like terrible things in the world to happen. And this is the first time in my life where I've really ever really noticed and paid attention to the things that were happening on planet Earth that weren't just like affecting me directly in my own little personal self-centered space bubble. But this was the first time in my life that I thought I need to do my part to like make this world better, because I don't want people that I care about to live in this terrible fucking environment any longer. And so anything I can do to make people I care about feel better, and any way I can lift them up in some way, then I feel like I should do something to do that. And I've never had that sort of outlook on life before, because I've just never given a shit. So this,
you're honest.
yeah, I mean, I am a very selfish person. Like I typically do not give a shit about anything unless it directly affects me or my bank account.
Are you the only
what I'm saying?
child?
Yeah.
See.
Yeah, I hold the light bulb still, and the world revolves around me to screw it in. So,
Well, you can say it, and that's actually
He's
great.
owning up to it.
yeah.
This is the first step towards change. It's
Yeah.
to actually admit it and say it. Like
Right.
put it out in the universe.
Right.
It
Yes.
takes two balls for that.
And I have 2 of them. They
Good.
of average size and shape.
Because I was going to offer you an extra one in case you need my imaginary ball.
If it's imaginary, it's not going to help much.
No, wait. It would. That's why you deal with it.
True. It's the mindset of having that 3rd ball in case I need it that brings me all the comfort. But no, so overall it's been a shitty year because I've been paying attention to how bad this year has been. For me personally, it hasn't been that bad really. I mean, I've struggled with depression and I've been going through some of that this year, and I've also, created or professionally my work life has been going really good. I had a fairly high profile project that I was working on a few months ago, and I'm still not sure whether or not I should talk about that.
You
on the
should.
podcast.
I cannot wait for you to say.
I know.
Well, so I did a series of Elvis costumes for Miley Cyrus 6 months ago or something.
Yeah, including the one that was featured in her music video.
And magazine.
Yeah.
Like
She
I've
was
seen
on
both,
Ellen.
pink and blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She was on Ellen with one.
Yeah, she was wearing a pink one on Ellen. So if you type Miley Cyrus Ellen show on YouTube, it's the first thing that pops up, and that clip alone has got like 45 million views or something crazy like that. So that was cool because I had almost complete creative control over that whole project. I got to pick just about everything down to the very last detail. They had some guidelines for like what color the outfits needed to be, and deadline things that needed to be and all that kind of stuff. But mostly I had creative control to just make it look as crazy as I wanted to. So that was nice because that's a level of control I'm not normally given in my career. So like that was a huge thing for me, and like a huge personal achievement. But overall, this podcast has really been the thing in the last, since I had the idea to do this show in like August. So, and it was short, like 2 weeks after I had the idea, we were all sitting in.
My fingers to count.
I know. I thought you were doing guitar exercises because that's
5
what.
months.
Yeah. So, like 2 weeks after that, we were sitting in Alex and Emily's backyard, like with us as a group, and I was pitching the idea to the show, and everybody was on board, and that was great. And now here we are. But this podcast has been like, what you're actually hearing is this is the result of me saying I need to grow the fuck up and I want to do something positive to affect the world positively. And so what you're hearing is me saying, okay, I can do whatever I want. How do I want to do this? How do I want to make some sort of change in the world? What do I have? And I had the resources to do a podcast because I've done podcasts before, and I had the drive to do it because I know how to do it. And then I just happened to have some really awesome people that I was able to ask if they wanted to do it, and they bought into my craziness enough to say, yeah, we'll be on your podcast with you. And now this has happened, and this has been such a joy working on this show, and it's been so positive for me because, again, I get lonely because I'm live in this house by myself, and I don't make friends easily because I'm an introvert and just, all this kind of stuff. And I just don't have a lot to keep myself occupied. So doing this podcast has solved almost every one of those problems because it's kept me so busy that I haven't had a chance to get depressed. It's given me a group. It's given me a group of friends that I get to see on a regular basis, so I don't just go for like month-long stretches without seeing any other human beings other than the people I work with, which is I'm prone to do if you give me the opportunity. And it's given me like a way to feel better and raise my self-esteem about the quality of person that I am. And so like all of those things, if you just take those things, just those things, that makes 2017 kind of the best year I've ever had, because those are all things that I've never had before, kind of. But also like zooming out and looking at the whole world, it's been a shitty year. So, but this is like I was telling Alex, I don't remember if we were recording or not, but this podcast is sort of the medicine for this sickness that is 2017.
3 minutes ago when you said that, everyone's here.
But I can't remember if I said that before I counted down from 11 or not.
No, it was like literally 3 minutes ago.
Oh, fuck.
Like,
What about you,
everybody
Soha?
runs. So
Tell us about your year.
2017, I think like everybody, it's had its ups and downs. For me, professionally, I think it's been pretty good. Personally, pretty good as well, but I've made some realizations about myself, and I think I'm finally at a point in my life where I can take a realization and see sort of what I need to do with it, if anything. So I realized I can't sit in an office alone and not talk to anybody and work. Like, I need interaction with people. And thankfully, I've had my friend Erica working with me, especially recently because I had a brief due, and she was there. And so when I just randomly asked a question out loud, she was there to answer it instead of me talking to myself like I had been for like the first 6 months or so of the year.
Wow.
So yeah, and I realized that about myself. I need people around. I can't just sit in an office alone and think and be motivated. I need people around me, which I never really had thought about before. But I'd always been in an office with a lot of people, and so it never really come up. And then shifting to the firm that I worked with in this past year, it was just the way our office was laid out. Nobody really came by. Not that they didn't want to. Just that we were all lazy, and I didn't want to go upstairs and I want to come downstairs, which is fine.
Right.
And actually, so we moved into a new office space yesterday. The partnership that I've been working for dissolved, and so the attorneys that I've been working with, the associates, are going with one partner. We moved downtown to some fancy new digs, and our offices are set up in a way that we're all going to be able to see each other more. So I'm excited about that. Like, really, really excited about that.
Question about that real quick.
Mhm.
Is your new office walking distance from my apartment? So like when it gets warm, would you be able to like walk from work over here to record or something like that? Theoretically?
Theoretically, if I wanted to walk several miles in the afternoon, yes. But
So it's several miles then.
yeah, it's on Main Street.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
All right.
So theoretically, yes, I can't.
Everything
walk
is
so much,
possible,
but I don't want to.
No.
I'm not going to do it.
I was just, there's a difference between a leisurely stroll and like work, and that sounds more like on the work end than a leisurely stroll.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But I'm much closer in terms of driving.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that for 2018, just being in different physical space, and it kind of, I think, makes your mind think differently. And I think having other people closer to me in that office space is going to be good for my brain to be able to think more creatively, which I think is really important. And then I also realized that if you want to be popular and if you want to have friends and if you want to have a lot of Instagram followers, that you don't get to do a lot of other stuff. Like, you can have a professional life and you can have like a sort of, I don't even know what to call it,
An Instagram life.
an Instagram life, I guess, but you really can't have anything else, because if you want to maintain those two things, it requires essentially 100% of your attention. You don't get to do much else. Like, I do the podcast, but that's also part of my Instagram life, because everyone thinks that I do nothing. Just, like, well, the people literally think that I don't do anything except for eat and like have fun and do photo shoots and stuff like that, which is very purposeful, because obviously I want to look like I'm having fun when I'm on Instagram, because nobody wants to see me sitting for like 14 hours in an office and typing and researching. It's not fun. And,
Right.
And who's going to put that on Instagram?
Right.
So, but to be able to have like lots of pictures to actually put on Instagram, you've got to have time to go and take pictures with your friends or photographers, and you've got to like devote time to like other people's stuff on Instagram, because otherwise they're not going to like your stuff.
Right.
And then you've got to do things in your life that are interesting enough to put out there on Instagram. And then obviously, like, I still have to work because I got to pay bills and stuff like that. So, that means that I don't get to do much else except, like, you don't get to have a balanced life. I don't think that's a real thing.
So how many followers do you have on Instagram?
Something like a little over 10,000. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
But shout out to my Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Those are
Shout
like
'em out.
sponsorship numbers. I don't know if that even applies to Instagram. I'm sure in some way it does. But like, if we had 10,000 subscribers to this podcast, people would be offering to pay us money. And
If you'd
so,
like to offer me some money to promote your fair trade product, then I would consider it. But
Yeah.
anyway, but I realized, like, if you want to have a life of, like, having deep personal relationships, or like a love life and a professional life and an Instagram life, you don't get to do all of that.
Oh.
You don't get to do all
Right,
of it.
right.
Or if, like, you want to rest every once in a while, you really can't. You've got to pick and choose, and I think that realization was pretty big in 2017. That's life. If you want to really excel in, like, one or two things, that means that in other parts of your life you don't get to excel.
That's why so many really good artists are terrible at relationships with people, because they sink all of their energy into their
I
art.
mean, most of them are isolated.
Yeah.
Most of them
Yeah.
do not have that social connection. They're not aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of problems, because if you have a
Depression.
partner and you live as an artist, you live in your own world, and I relate a little bit to that, and that's how I did not. Hearing you, Soha, I do want to have my artistic Alex too, but I cannot do that as I'm trying to finish this, master's and work. But because I get in my own world, like when I really start, like, doing things like, painting or drawing, I don't pay attention to what's around me in a way that's affecting other people. Like, I'm forgetful already, but if I'm in my mode of painting, I would leave things on the stove.
Yeah.
Right.
And that has a lot to do with the people that you're with. Like, a partner will not take it. Because
No.
you cannot possibly with anyone who is risky in that sense, and that's how most artists that have been the best artists in the entire history happen to have that pattern.
Yes.
And it makes sense. They have to be 100% themselves in their world, because they paint like no one else.
Yeah.
And just like piggybacking off of what you said, I'm trying to start my own business, going back to school, so I really don't have time for a relationship. I don't have time for anything but what I'm trying to do.
Right.
Start a business, go back to school. So other areas in my life would be neglected if I had a relationship.
Right.
If I was in a relationship. Because just a small little bit I've had to do now, like learning how to upload videos, edit videos, excuse me, which I'm not editing any yet, but I'm learning how to edit them. And I looked up yesterday, and I had been on the computer for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, what time is it? It started getting dark, and I was like, I'm hungry. What time is it? If I had somebody else there with me, I would be neglecting him.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe that's why I'm not in a relationship, because I have something to do.
Yeah.
And
Right.
my business would get neglected, because I would be like, oh, he's lying, and let me go spend some time with him, and I wouldn't be able to do what I need to do. So, yeah, we.
And because we're talking about this, it is both are as important. Like, if you, as a woman or a man, choose one thing of the other one, it is as valid and as powerful. If there are people who are listening and feel that because they don't have relationships they're less than, don't, because we are choosing what we want to spend our time and energy and love in. So if I admire anyone who would, like, give it all, because it's a sacrifice. I don't think anyone want to be at the end of the day, even working in this creative world, I don't think that they want to end up alone.
Sure.
Or not have anybody to just hold on to. So it is very admirable once a person decides that this is what I'm going to do, because this is my dream, my individual dream. Not what my family thought I would be, not what for example, an ex thought that I was going to end up doing with. So whatever you're doing, to everybody, I think it's awesome that you're determined and you're doing that you want.
But it really has to be a conscious choice, because I think if you wake up like 10 years down the road and you realize that you put all of your energy and your time into, for example, being a lawyer, and what you really wanted was to have a family, and I'm not saying that like if you reach a certain age you can't have that,
Right.
but you certainly become limited, I guess, as the older you get, and so you should make a conscious decision at some point in your life, and it doesn't need to be just once. It can be like a constant evolution of what is important to you and what you want to spend your time on, and then do it. And to understand that other parts of your life aren't necessarily going to they're not going to like just appear. Like you're not going to have a relationship if you're spending all your time at work or doing projects. You're not going to have the relationship's just not going to come out of nowhere. It's not going to materialize. But if you've made that conscious choice, then at least you know that you've done what you wanted to do, and that you can do what you want to do successfully, which I think was my biggest realization of 2017. Like, this is what I want to be doing, and this is what I want to be spending my time on. And it necessarily means that other parts of my life aren't getting the attention. I'm not going to say that's what they deserve, but that just means that they're not getting the attention, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And today is a time where, especially for women, who for a long time, for years, suppressed what they wanted to be, how they wanted to look, the career that they wanted to pursue. And this applies for males too, but women, they are breaking that stereotypical, purpose of women do certain things and have been doing certain things for a long time. Now women are choosing to stay single,
Right.
consciously. And I'm sure they know that it must hurt at some point to realize that you lose, perhaps a person that was good to you, but you have this other part of you this is what I thought growing up I wanted to be. So that split must hurt. I don't feel it. I don't know what that would be, but especially for women today, I think it's admirable, and I'm so empowering of that, because they're choosing to do something else. And they know they're going to lose parents probably by not following the typical, not getting married or not having children or not pursuing that career that's only for women. They're going for I don't know, this badass careers that men have been leading for a long time. And now you see one or two more people in a classroom where I noticed that the engineer school at U of L, when you walk in that building, it's cold as it can be. First of all, there's wires coming from everywhere, machines everywhere. It's cold. It's a cold feeling. But I don't want to stereotype here, but there's a sort of men that go there, nerdy looking. You can tell you are in that sort of building. But I've seen women show up occasionally, and you can see one woman in the back of the room or walking in the hall among all these men that look the same, among all the wires. And that to me, tells me they're actually doing and stepping out and facing demons, because it's not only about your own demons. You go outside and everybody's going to judge what you do.
They're not going to support you.
And they will not.
No.
And they will tell you that you should look for something else. We know all that stuff. But anyway, long story short, I'm really proud of every person who's willing to sacrifice those, special areas, like having a partner, having that emotional connection, that for something that they believe in, because it's only one life.
Yeah.
And they have been suppressing who they are for a long damn time already. So get out there and do it.
That's what I tell everybody. You have to, if you have a dream, I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking, damn, I should have went back to school and did that, or damn, I should have got that logo trademarked,
Right.
I don't want to be on my deathbed. And about the support, you would be surprised about. I was telling one of my girlfriends, I was like, I'm looking for a graphic designer and I'm going to get this logo together. She kind of laughed, as if to say, and I had to let her know, just because you're on a basic level of thinking, don't put me in that box.
I mean, you're the crazy one.
You know what I'm saying?
Think about it.
But
you know
what I'm saying? Just because my dream, I don't just think right here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my dreams are big. And just because you don't understand them, that's on you.
Right.
So I say that to say, whatever dreams you have, go for it. Man, woman, black, white, whatever.
Yeah.
Go for it. And if it don't work, you're brown. If it don't work,
You still
Next.
have many things to do.
Next.
And if they call you're the crazy one, that's fine.
yeah.
Be it. Be the crazy one.
Mhm.
Because being extraordinary cannot bring
I tell my
the
daughter,
good things into your life.
do not hang around basic bitches, man or woman. Because a bitch can be
Oh,
a man
yeah.
or woman.
Oh, yeah.
Basic bitches, that means they're basic. They're bottom feeders. You do not want to deal with them because they're going to keep you down there with them. Get around somebody that's going to take you here. Because I wouldn't have never thought about starting a YouTube channel if I hadn't have sat here.
Yeah.
Because I was like, shit, I can do that. I might not have all the techie stuff, but I got a smartphone.
You do.
Boom, let me start some YouTube videos.
Plus, you have access to, if you ever need to use any of this techie stuff for your YouTube channel, you're welcome to it.
Boom, there it is. You heard it.
It's on record.
Yeah, opportunities don't come if you're sitting at your house on your couch.
No, they don't.
Opportunities come from meeting
And
different
people do not love you
and-
more because you sit on the couch for the entire
Right,
day.
even though it feels so good sometimes.
It does, but
Yeah.
they don't love you. They don't love you more. So get out, risk it, and if you lose people along the way,
I always
they
say,
shouldn't be there in the first place.
another thing I say, people want you to do good, but not better than them.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and that's true, and that's something I live by. My friends, some of them, they want me to do good, but if I'm reaching higher than what they are, they kind of start backpedaling. But I can handle that. That's
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because I'm the kind of person that I like to surround myself with people who I think are more successful or who are better at things than I am.
So I can learn from them.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, okay,
If that's what you want, if you want to improve, that's what you do.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't, you do the other way.
Because Mike, when you said anybody want to learn that, I was like, heck yeah, I want to learn how to do all them buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you never know, it might come in handy. I might be somewhere and they be like, you need a DJ, boom, $100. We'll pay you to fool with them. You know, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, like nothing is more, well, a few things are, but one of the most exciting things about living, I think, is when I can sit down with somebody who's really good or really successful at doing something that I have, like, I don't have any idea how to do, or that I want to do really badly but have no idea how to get there.
Yeah.
Sitting them down and being like, okay, tell me 110% of everything that you did.
Yeah.
And give them my undivided attention. Because, yeah, how the fuck else are you going to learn, you know, unless you surround yourself by
daddy
people
always
who've done
said,
it before.
If you
so.
the smartest person in the room, you in the wrong room. You need
Yeah.
to find
Yeah.
out.
Yes.
That's so
Correct.
wise.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
wise.
that's true.
Yes. Unless you're hanging out with a bunch of kids. And that's okay too. Unless they're not yours. Or they're not related to you. And
I don't know. My granddaughter throws some stuff out there. I'll be like, what? Where'd you learn it from?
The reason I say that is, you know, and as I'm thinking about like the things that I'm choosing to give up in order to have more success in certain areas, is there's nothing necessarily wrong with choosing to have a family and devote your time to them. I think though that if you think that you're gonna have this like stellar, upstanding career and have this like amazing family life,
That's
I think
only in
you're
the
probably,
movies.
yeah, I think you're probably fooling yourself because, like, you know, like you either get to have like a balance of mediocrity,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is fine, I think, for some people. Like, if you really just want to be able to work enough to pay your bills and spend time with your family, and actually that's not really mediocre because you can have a great family life and that can be enough for a lot of people. And I think even for different people at different times in their lives, like that's enough. Where you have, if you've got like young kids and stuff, that's what you want to excel at, and that's great. But just recognize like you're not gonna have a stellar career and like the perfect 2.5 kids and the,
Yeah.
you know, and the house and the perfect yard and all that, because you don't unfortunately get to live like that.
Yeah.
At least in my experience of life, you get either one or two really, really great things or just a lot of mediocre.
Yeah.
True.
I've had sort of a dark realization while we've been having this discussion in the last 2 minutes, because I was thinking about you know what you do give up in order to follow what makes you happy and all that kind of stuff. And I was thinking about the roles that we play and what we sacrifice, and I was thinking about, you know, So I have been married and divorced twice. It's been 10 years since my last divorce. So I feel so old saying that I got divorced the second time 10 years ago. But be that as it may, in both of those relationships where I got married, I chose. Well, there was a lot wrong with the relationships. First of all, more than what I'm about to say, but in both of those relationships, I chose the role of being a musician because I thought that was what my identity was. And so I chose that role over my role as a husband in both of those relationships. Like I knew that that's what I was doing, and therefore, and also I was a crazy drug addict, and neither me or my partner liked each other in either one of those relationships. But I did actually, I thought I was going to be a musician. I thought that was what my whole life was going to be. And in both of those relationships, I sacrificed the health and the quality of those relationships in order to follow that dream. When, one of my ex-wives would say, okay, let's do this thing together. I'd be like, no, because I have to sit in front of a metronome in this room with the door locked so that you can't come in so that I can practice scales and, shit like that, which is a terrible thing to do. But the dark realization I came to isn't that I chose that, because I've always known that I chose to be a musician over choosing to be a husband. The dark realization is at some point I decided that being a musician was not my identity and that I wanted my identity to be something else, and basically largely walked away from playing music altogether. So essentially what I did was I just ran through two people's lives and just basically wrecked their lives for a period of time over some dream that I didn't end up actually following through with.
But
that's
what we do.
That is what we do.
That's exactly what we do because we are learning.
Right.
You cannot just have one dream. You can have many dreams, and they can be different every year.
Right, and people change, and that is very much who I was at the time, even if that's not who I am anymore. But just kind of thinking about, boy, it's a shame I didn't follow through. Like I have nothing to show for those other than divorces and lost property. Like it's a shame I didn't actually become a rich musician, because I could actually give both of those exes millions of dollars and let them, however that happy ending would be. And instead, I'm just like, well, no, that's just not who I am anymore. Sorry, y'all. But they both ended up much happier without me. So I mean, there is a happy ending.
Yeah, and that's life. You live and you learn. With age comes wisdom. So.
Hopefully, it's the people that I worry about who aren't becoming wiser as they get older and are still just using people for whatever reason without really thinking about what they want to be doing with their lives.
Yeah.
Those are the people you gotta stay away from.
And that would connect to something that I wanted to say. Before you have any partners, any wives, any husbands, it's you. Like, you are you. We are individuals. And we remain individuals even when we're sharing a house with somebody. So if we do not have the priority to make this individual happy and successful, and if we don't accomplish our goals, whatever they might be, we cannot possibly, and that's me in my experience, have that happy ending with anybody. Right. Because that's always going to be with you. I was miserable for a long time with people because I stopped being myself for other people. Right. So it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It really doesn't work.
No.
Whether it's you're leaving your career for someone, or you're not continuing to do what you used to do because you change countries or you change patterns. If you are not true to yourself and you do not fulfill this person first, there's nothing out there that will give you that happiness with anybody.
Right, because when I was married, my ex-husband, he wanted me to be something that I totally was not.
Yeah.
But I knew him for 3 years before we got married. And he wanted me to be this meek-mild, quiet person that takes a back seat to things. And I was like, oops. I was like, that's so not me.
Right.
He calls me a dictator. I'm not a dictator. I just know what I want. I'm able to tell you what I want and need. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be quiet about it if I don't like it.
Right.
I'm going to tell you I don't like it.
and I think,
you know what I'm saying? So, you have to be true to yourself. That's why I always say, honey, do you. Be true to who you are, because if you're not, you will not be happy.
With anybody.
You
It
won't.
could be the perfect person
Right.
for
Yeah.
you. Could be the person that the universe choose for you to be
Yeah.
with your entire fucking life. But if you're not ready
Mm-mm.
yourself, it doesn't matter. It's you, it's it within us, and if we don't, that's why I admire these people doing their thing, because I know that at some point in their life,
Yeah.
when they accomplish and they did what they wanted to do, whether they lost things in the way, at some point in their life, they will find that either partner or not, and be happy, as a lot of people who have people like partners are not.
Mm-hmm.
If you're loyal to yourself, something is going to happen at the end of your life, or further, and you'll see how all that is going to play out. It's not until you're
And
good.
not everybody's meant, I don't think.
No,
Personally, not
to be
everybody's
with
meant to
someone
have
else.
children and be married. I've
Right.
heard, this is what I think. I don't think everybody's meant to be married and have kids. I know it's what's beaten into our heads and what we've seen from the time we were born. But I think it's okay. So I'm not saying this is for you, but I think it's okay if you want to go for your career and not have any children. Your nieces that you speak so greatly of, you can help raise them. You know what I'm saying? I think it's okay. Shit, girl, do you? Because you definitely, because if you get with the wrong man, he'll slow you down.
Right.
If you get in any wrong relationship, man, woman, whatever,
Yeah.
they'll slow you down. And they can kill that passion that you have for you. Trust
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Trust me.
Yes.
They would try to steal, they would suck it.
Suck
try
the
to
passion
suck-
out of you.
They will.
And then blame you for
Yeah.
not being
Yes.
the person that you used
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah, and then you're the asshole.
Yeah.
And what's wrong with
It's
you?
like me choking Michael and asking him to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you not breathing?
Yeah.
As I'm squeezing his neck.
Squeezing the life out
Why don't
of
we
you.
have any
Yeah.
fun together?
Yeah. Because you're a fun sucker.
I know.
And not to say that like we all haven't done that to other people.
All right.
No.
I was gonna say we
Yeah.
have been in
Yes.
that place too,
Yeah.
but
But we can admit it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
and we made our choice as
Mhm.
well. Like I've been in both roles.
Yes.
I didn't like to be the one who was abused emotionally or controlled,
Mm-hmm.
or because that made me feel ashamed of myself. But I've been the other person too. And as long as you're clear and honest about it, anybody with consciousness will choose without
Prejudice.
because we know that sometimes we place ourselves in situations that are not the best for ourselves.
Yeah.
But we have an amount of consciousness about something. I can see how I would end up with that person, yet I decided to do it.
Yeah.
So whoever is on the other side, if you know that the person you're with has this passion for their career, whether it's painting or writing or whatever, you're seeing it. You choose to put yourself there.
Right.
Unless that person was lying to you and was hiding things, that's different.
No, yeah. That's
But if
totally
you see it clearly, and if you know a person for who they are, and you decide to stick with them, there's a split responsibility. Not that I'm supporting someone who would control or neglect or whatever, but it's half of a responsibility in my opinion. Because if we know and they're clear and they're honest and they tell you what they do and how they do things, and you decide to be there,
Shut up about
we
it.
cannot blame the person.
No.
Right.
It's like like having a girlfriend, not that I have it, but who is open for more relationships, like having a polygamy sort of relationship.
Mm-hmm.
If you know the person, if you met her or him
In
in that situation,
Yeah.
and you, well, I think that's cool, and you fell in love with that shit, and that person did not lie to you, and you decided to get in there, and then you get your ass, kicked. It is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot expect that person who was clear and honest to you about how
Who
they
they were.
fuck
Yeah.
Yeah.
and expect that person to change.
Yeah.
You walk away and you do what you need to do because you got yourself in that situation to begin with.
Because my
Yeah.
ex, he'll tell me to this day, you haven't changed. and I'm not going to. This is me. The Deborah that you met that day in August is the same. I mean, of course, I've grown in certain areas, but
Right.
the Deborah that he met in
The
August
essence.
of 2003, I pride myself in being the same person. I don't like wishy-washy people. I am who I am.
Right.
Take it or leave it.
Exactly. It's out there. It's out there. People
Yeah.
choose to stay or not. In certain situations, like
Right.
Yeah.
So for people who are making resolutions for 2018 or just looking forward to a new year of being or having some difference in their lives, and either having resolutions or some sort of goals, what advice would you give them? What sort of practical advice would you give them to be able to pursue their dreams, pursue their passions, to really take hold of 2018 and use it to the best of their ability to have those growing pains that we've had and the realizations that we've had? What advice would you give to somebody who wants to take their life to the next level over 2018?
I would say take care of yourself and try to stay mindful of the fact that one of the, New Year's resolutions don't work because we get so hyperbolic, like I'm going to, in my case, quit smoking. And then I'll quit smoking for 6 hours because I'm out of cigarettes. And then my resolution fails because I actually have to go to the gas station to get gas. While I'm there, I'm like, well, they do sell cigarettes. Boom, resolution over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm mad at myself. And I'm just pissed off at myself. You were going to quit smoking, and now look at you. And I think that is a terrible attitude to have with ourselves. And so I think one of the surest ways to success is to be gracious with yourself and allow yourself to fail, and don't. I'm speaking primarily to people who are like me, who have a lot of negative self-talk going on in their head, because I will shoot myself down any chance I get the opportunity if I'm not careful. So if you're like me and you're prone to just find yourself having a conversation in your head about, you're the biggest piece of shit that ever lived, and you blah 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 blah, and then you're like, how did I even get started on this? I was just making a grocery list, and now I'm the most worthless piece of shit that ever lived. Like, how did I even get here? If you're that kind of person, because that's the kind of person I am, learn how to forgive yourself and learn how to say loving and nice things to yourself. And if you fail at achieving something that your heart is set on, don't let that be the end. Just, recognize that sometimes shit happens. Forgive yourself and try to carry on and see what you've learned from that experience, and see if you can carry that into the next one without beating yourself to death with negative self-talk.
I'm going to say be practical about your dreams. New Year's resolutions, they don't work. It's like if you've never worked out a day in your life, and tomorrow's January 1 and I'm going to the gym 6 days a week and I'm going to work out an hour a day, that's not going to happen.
it's not realistic.
Start with 30 minutes 3 times a day. Just be practical. And if you have a dream, this is for anyone. If you have a dream, and if whatever it is that you want to do, if it sounds crazy to you or anybody else, do it. Because like I said, you do not want to be on, I don't want to be on my deathbed thinking shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
So go for it. Whatever it is, get a plan, write it down, but remember to take care of your business that you have to take care of while you're planning your future.
Right.
Yeah. Pay attention to the present, or else you're going to lose the future.
Exactly.
Going to that last statement, in my case, I was divided into 2 passions. It was my altruistic and my artistic. And I knew at some point, because I had good people around me who guided me, that I had to choose one over the other one for financial reasons, because I'm not privileged. I don't have a family that can support me in that way. So it hurt because it was my second year of art school. But I also was very, very passionate about social work and sociology and all that stuff. So I had to make that hard decision that I'm sure a lot of people right now are split in. And sometimes they have more, not just 2, but 3 things that they're passionate about and they're good at. But it was the hardest for me because I wanted to be an artist. I did not want to stop drawing, painting, doing things with clay. Anything that I could put my hands on was my way of expressing. But I also knew that I had a skill for people and that I could help people in many other ways. So I choose my career as a social worker and soon to be a therapist because I understand where I live, and in this country, like I'm sure in every country, you have to ensure your own security. Not thinking that I'm like, I don't, as an individual, I didn't think, oh, you're gonna get married and you're not gonna have to worry about that. Choose what you want because you're gonna end up having a man to pay for or woman. I never had that. I always knew that I was going to support myself. Always had it. So I said, I better choose something that I can actually support with myself. And I choose this career, which is not leaving me a lot of money. I'm not saying I'm rich.
You should start a YouTube art therapy channel, by the way. I just had one
Boom.
It is coming around. Thank you for mentioning it because I knew that if that's what you want to be and that's what you're meant to be, it works. It's like a harmony. It doesn't matter how far you go, it will pull you in that sort of perfect triangle. So I did that whole, school thing. I never stopped doing my art, but I didn't do it as I wanted it. And every year I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do more of that and more of that. But for those people, my point was, if you have to make that decision, it's okay. As long as you have a purpose and you're loyal to yourself. Because now, with my degree, I can put both together. And I don't have to have an art therapy degree, although there is, and I'm not taking that away from art therapists because they go to school for that. But I can incorporate my art skills and my passion within my therapy.
There it is.
So at the end,
You win.
it worked.
Yes.
And I want to be able to support myself, not be rich, but I wouldn't be able to be here if I was an artist. Because artists struggle if they don't have money, or people that have money.
Yeah.
So if you are right now in that moment of, I need to choose between two really important things in my life, choose the one that's going to give you the most physical stability, because then once you're stronger and
Got your foundation.
got your foundation very, very tough and strong there, you can always come back to that. It's like, it was a perfect little formula for me.
Right.
So that's what I wish to everybody that's actually split in half right now.
Right.
Do not give them anything. Just, choose one over the other one for the time being.
Right. Well, my advice would be to just do it. Don't wait on someone else to give you opportunities. Don't expect things to fall in your lap. Don't allow yourself to be too tired to do something that you really want to do. If you work 12 hours a day and you come home and you're exhausted and you don't want to do anything, then don't go home after work. Just go straight to the gym, go to the coffee shop and work on that book that you've been wanting to work on. Get yourself in a space that you work at what you want to be working at. And don't allow yourself too many excuses. Obviously, you're going to have days where you just don't want to do anything, but don't let that turn into weeks. Don't let that turn into months. Don't make excuses for why you can't start your YouTube channel, because like you said, Deborah, you've got your smartphone and you can figure out how to upload stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be the best content ever. It doesn't have to be the most perfect quality, but you're doing something towards your goal, and until you build a foundation, you're not going to have that amazing thing that you want to have. Because I think for all of us we've reached something in our lives that we are proud of. It didn't happen overnight.
No.
It took time. I didn't become a lawyer overnight. Freaking spent years and years in school. And then even when I passed the bar, I didn't just walk into court and start winning cases. It took time and effort, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't fun. You got to get all the ugly, hard work part of it in to then have the thing that you want at the end of the day. Yeah. And really, it's going to be probably years in the making. if you accept that, then you can get there, but don't expect anything to happen overnight without a lot of hard work.
Because I know losing 88 pounds, it definitely didn't happen overnight.
No, it didn't. And it
And
wasn't easy.
gaining weight back happens overnight. But losing it, I mean, and like you said, when I'm at work, I work 10, 12 hours, I have to go straight to the gym. Because if I go home, I'm not coming back out. Especially in this weather, 9 degrees, shit.
Yeah.
I'll be on the couch.
Exactly. And the couch is like, it's your enemy.
Yeah.
For those of
Oh,
us
yeah.
who want to have success in our life, the couch is your enemy. Throw it away.
Yeah.
Put it out in the street for somebody else. Don't put it on the street. People are going to say you've got bed bugs. But donate it.
Excuse me.
But get off the couch and don't get back on there because it's going to it's like you're a fun sucker. It's that relationship in your life that's sucking the fun out of your life and sucking your zeal and your passion. So stay off of it, stay away from it, and put in the hard work to be the person that you want to be.
I would like to amend that slightly to say that actually don't throw your couch away. Just recognize when it's time to use the couch and when it's time to be
Well,
productive.
that's the problem.
Sit on the damn floor because you're going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You get back up.
That
and
we
you're gonna do something.
Yes.
I recognize that it's not a good place to be. That I could be better at walking or doing physical stuff. Recognizing doesn't really get me anywhere. Like I know I'm sitting there, and I'm like,
exactly.
I shouldn't be here.
But think
As
about
I'm
it.
like getting the blanket and
Look at that blanket right there. And that
Yeah.
couch, on a day like today,
Yes.
could be curled up, drinking coffee.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being lazy and taking care of yourself,
Yeah,
right?
true.
Like there's
Yeah.
a certain amount of sitting on a couch watching cowboy movies that is
Yes.
definitely
healthy seating.
there's a
yeah.
self-preservation
Yeah.
aspect to that is very valuable. So I think just throwing the couch out and hoping the neighbors don't think you have bed bugs is like
Yeah, throw the couch out, and then when you're really tired and you really need a break,
go grab it and bring it upstairs
come to
again.
Michael's house, sit on his couch with his blanket, and eventually he'll kick you out, and then you'll be back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Depends. I might kick you out. I might not.
You will want to leave at some point because it's very cold in here. I'll just say it. It's
It's-
cold in here.
And it's over 70 degrees in here,
It
so
does not feel like
I will not be able
Well, but
to
it's
afford.
what 8 outside.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
cold.
that's true.
I will not be able to afford. As soon as everybody leaves this apartment, I'm turning the heat off, and it's just going to be colder in here. Because boy, that LG&E bill gets expensive.
Yes, it
AF
does, but I'm going to pay
when the
fuck
heat
that.
runs all day. Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah,
It's too cold.
But you guys have inspired me to do that, so I thank you.
same
Being
here.
around
You're welcome,
Same
and
here.
thank you too.
Same here.
Yeah.
It's always inspired me.
Mhm.
Mother Deborah and Michael and Alex, you all inspired me as well. And I'm looking forward to 2018 with you all because I know
Yes.
we're all going to grow and we're all going to get better and we're going to kill this podcast game and then we're going to revive it and kill it again.
Kill it again.
We're going to kill the zombie of the podcast
Yes.
world.
Yes.
I
Nobody can see the face I
Well,
just made, but
feel no one said that.
it was just a gross face thinking about killing the podcast, bringing it back to life, and then killing it again.
The podcast game.
The
Oh.
game, yeah.
Okay.
We don't want to kill our podcast. We want to kill the podcast game and then revive it to kill it again because it's like
To have a purpose and a motivation to keep going,
exactly.
so we don't get bored.
Yes.
Let's kill it every now and then and bring it back.
Yes, and I love that like this podcast feeds into all of our passions that we have individually. Like, I mean, we're going to be super successful. We're going to be super famous, and we're going to use our creativity here to bolster our creativity in our own individual ways. And I'm excited to see that.
I am
Yeah,
too.
definitely.
I am. And I want Alex to start her YouTube channel in English and in Spanish.
See,
For
Would it
real.
be cool? That would be
That
cool.
would.
I know,
That
if
would
you
be
like
very
teach me how to
cool.
paint by numbers or something, I'd watch that because it sounds very soothing.
Yeah.
I would love to do something. And I had that idea for
You
when
got,
we
you got
got
the camera
together.
right in front of you. I taught
Mhm.
you how to use video on it today. You're good. You're good.
Thank
to
you.
go.
Yeah,
have
I've
everything.
had that button all this time. I have had this camera.
And I think I got like 20 some videos up, and I haven't edited one because I'm not going to yet.
I need to get back to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna go buy a whole bunch of like Korean snacks and then try them on film
Mm-hmm.
and upload that.
Cool.
I
I did
watched
like
that.
To eat.
Yeah.
I found myself watching competitive staring contest videos the other day, so I'll watch anything pretty much.
Yeah, you literally will.
Yeah.
Vaping, staring.
Well, I would. When I graduate in May, I'm gonna have half of the time
Yeah.
free, which to me is, I've had this going on for 3 years that I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, that
Free
feeling, I
time.
don't know, what am I gonna do without having to deal with 3 things at the same time? But I know what I'm gonna do because I've thought about that time,
Mm-hmm.
bringing it back and actually making a studio and having it there.
Yeah.
And I mean, the video could totally be part of it, but I need to graduate
Yeah. Get that.
and get that degree
First
out of
things
the way,
first.
because it's also credibility that I'm gaining here. With it, even if I'm 5 months from graduation, you still want to see that paper on the wall.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I want to see it for myself too, because
Yeah. And we will be there screaming and hollering. We're
hey,
gonna take you
May
out.
12th,
Yeah. We're
my
gonna take you
parents
out.
are coming. Emily's mom and aunt are coming. I think a friend or 2 are coming from Mississippi. So I want to keep you updated in that,
Yeah. We're gonna have
that
a
party
ball.
celebration, something.
Yeah.
We're going to do something. But
Yeah. we should.
Exciting. We already got something to look forward to, May 12th.
May 12th.
May 12th.
oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have any other advice to offer to our listeners for 2018? So that they can
Stay
reach
warm
their goals?
tonight. If you go out
And be careful.
and party, do not drink and drive. And I know you've heard this many fucking times, but seriously, you have how many options to get home?
Ubers,
Uber,
taxis.
Lyft, and we're actually promoting this just because I don't want people to die tonight,
Right.
because it tends to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are going to drink or drug yourself because it's your life, just make sure that you don't put anybody else at risk as well. Because you driving not only kills you, but you can kill somebody else, and that is not acceptable.
Somebody who's about to take their life to the next level.
Absolutely. Do
Don't
not.
Yeah.
If you cannot,
stay on the couch
Walk.
and do that.
don't drive.
Exactly. And watch
Period.
cowboy movies because that's all
Yeah. And I'll see you at play tonight. I'm going to go see some friends.
It's a shame our audience is going to hear this after New Year's. They'll just be like, well, it's Wednesday. I wasn't planning on getting fucked up and driving.
Well,
But
this is
Well,
for
if
next
you
weekend.
did,
Always
next
have
time.
to. Always
That's
have to.
every day. It
yes,
applies to
yes,
every day.
it really does. As a former drunk driver, it really does.
All right.
I love throwing that in there and watching people
Uh-huh.
squirm.
I
So-
judge you. You're a horrible person.
I know.
I guess we'll see each other in 2018.
Of
Yeah,
course.
see y'all next year.
Next year.
Actually,
We'll
I'll
be
see
here.
you. Actually, I'll see you next year.
Mhm, definitely.
Do we have? Is there boot camp tomorrow?
Nope. Tuesday.
All right. Well, I'll see you Tuesday then.
Yes.
Let's get back into it. I hope everybody else gets back into it. I hope that 2018 is successful and prosperous and a harbinger of happiness for
Yes.
everybody.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And-
And love yourself, love yourself, love yourself.
And be sure to check us out on all of our social medias. Please, you can check us out on Twitter at the Queencast at Twitter.
And you can find us on Instagram at the.queencast.
Facebook, the Queencast page.
Email.
The Queencast at gmail.com. I was trying to think, what else do we have?
Finally woke up. And
We-
we appreciate everybody who's listening to us and really hope that everybody has a fabulous 2018. Hope you do good for yourself and for others. Michael, you can say something.
I was going to say, if you listen to us on iTunes, feel free to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, because the more positive reviews we get, the more exposure iTunes will give our podcast. So if we have a lot of good reviews, then a lot more people will see the show, and ultimately we want a lot more people to see the show. So
Yeah.
All right. And as always,
God save the Queen.
Queencast.
Cast. We're going to get that together.
we really
Maybe
I
won't.
don't think that
2018.
we're going to, because if we haven't gotten it together after 14 weeks, it's just
It's
not.
not going
It's
to do
funny.
it.
My New Year's resolution is to just once in 2018 we all say that together and like start it and stop it at the same
But we
time.
need
We
to
say
actually be
well,
intentional about this. Like,
I think it's funny when we do
you know, something
Yeah.
is.
Let's just not be good at it.
Yeah.
Let's focus our energies on something.
But one day we're gonna accidentally nail it. And we're all gonna be like, "Holy shit!
We did.
Yeah.
Holy shit!"
And then
Rewind.
something's probably gonna like break in our brains.
Can we
Oh,
add
yeah,
mirrors
yeah.
here in this sort of thing? That would be awesome.
on the microphone so I can see
Yeah.
myself
So you
talk?
can see yourself talk.
So I can see what's happening in my eyes because I'm
Lord.
like, I want something.
But we're
It's
about to
your
go
phone.
get some. What we about to get
Some
some
Vietnamese food, some pho, some
Some-
hot pho
some pho
on
cube.
a cold day.
How fuck? How fuck?
And we're out. Boom.
Boom. What a way to end it. Hot fuck.
Oh shit. So